What up, everybody? This is Mark from Suicide Silence.
And this is Brian Fair from Shadows Fall.
This is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here.
Yo, this is Gary Hall from Exodus and recently retired from Slayer. And
Hello, this is Becky Boulder from Hamburg Rebel and Fury.
Hey, this is Charlie with Anthrax. I just want to give a shout out to Pedal to the Metal Radio, the podcast.
The podcast to get all your rock and metal news plus reviews.
Keep it metal. Pedal to the Metal Radio, motherfuckers!
What's up, my fellow metalheads out there in the internet world where you're watching me right now on this YouTube channel? That's right, it's Eddie Monster, Pedal to the Metal's most dubious host, and you are checking out my YouTube page. Now, remember, please, we appreciate everybody. We love all of you metalheads out there, so please subscribe to the channel. Any subscriber is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. We've got something new that we're doing for all of you here today on this particular episode that you're watching. That's right, because this is called Eddie's Top 5. That's right, this is where we break down something and we create a top 5 list out of it. Now, usually what I would like to do, and I'm going to do pretty soon, is I'm going to count down from the year I was born all the way to today. That's right, 2024, 25. Yeah, we're in 2025. It's all good. And I'll be doing my top 5 metal albums of all time from each year to celebrate all 43 years of my existence. That's right. But today, we've got something special. I wanted to break it down. But before we get into that, I think I need to remind y'all of a little something. So, no disrespect to any of the remaining members that are still alive, but just to let you all know, this is Pantera. You see that? That's Pantera, right? You got Dime, you got Phil, you got Vinny, you got Rex. That is Pantera. Just had to say it. But no disrespect. I love that they're doing their thing this year. Obviously, Pantera's hitting the road this summer with Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante. So no disrespect to them. Just want to remind everybody that this is Pantera and this is how it should stay. No new music should ever be recorded under the Pantera name. Thank you very much. All right, now to my list. Okay. This is a tough one. Okay. Trying to figure out personal taste from what actually is the best or the better. And sometimes it just, these lists come out the way it is. The top 3 generally are always the same 3 albums. The only constant in this whole list is what is my number 1 album. Everything else is interchangeable. They interchange all the time. That's why we're going to go over this list. So coming in at number 5. Now, before we do get into number 5, honorable mention, I'm just going to let you know, are all the albums that came out before Cowboys from Hell. Those are honorable mention. Forget about your power metals or whatever the hell those albums were called. I don't care. Okay, we're checking out the Pantera stuff when they became Pantera with Cowboys from Hell. But nonetheless, here's a list. And at number 5, we've got the Great Southern Trendkill. Now, I've been battling back and forth with this one and what ended up becoming number 4 because these are my least 2 favorite Pantera records. Although, you know, I say least favorite just because these albums sort of don't resonate with me completely, much like the top 3 will. But this one's a tough one. This one, for me, was such a drastic change for Pantera at the time. To go from Far Beyond Driven to this one just seemed so different. And this album seemed really kind of, you know, Dime used to brag about being like Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors and more, right? Or whatever that damn slogan is. This one I kind of feel was very just straightforward. It was like a hardcore record from Pantera. Very, very different from what they had done, but could have been Natural Evolution from Far Beyond Driven, whatever. But the only songs on this album that I still even listen to are just Floods, probably Drag the Waters, and Tens. Other than that, this is an album that I don't really listen to that much anymore, and I could pass on this any day of the week. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? But coming in at number 4, some of you may or may not agree with it, but like I said, this has always been a toss-up for me, and that is Reinventing the Steel, right? Granted, it has been said that this is Phil Anselmo's favorite Pantera record ever. Again, it's always been a toss-up with the Great Southern Trendkill. It's not my top 3, but it's better than the original stuff from 87 and before, if you get my drift. This one definitely was a return to form for Pantera, in my opinion, following the Great Southern Trendkill. This obviously was also the longest break between albums the band had ever taken. It has great tracks on it like Hellbound, Goddamn Electric, Yesterday Don't Mean Shit, Revolution Is My Name, so on and so forth. So it was a decent album to return from for Pantera. So, I mean, don't shoot the messenger here, all right? Coming in at number 3. Now, again, like I said, the top 3 were always a constant, but 2 and 3 were kind of a toss-up. And, now I'm just kind of going with it. But at number 3 is Cowboys from Hell. To me, it was their debut album. For a long time, for a lot of us, before the internet even existed, this is all we thought of when it came to Pantera as far as albums was concerned. This one is a fucking classic. Okay, Cemetery Gates, Domination, just an album that's just full back to front. You can just front to back to front, whatever the hell you want to listen to it. Dude, it's fucking awesome. You know what I mean? And it's a toss-up, but that is the power of this list, because the top 3 albums are the top 3 albums for a fucking reason, and that's because they're so frigging awesome. All right? Coming in at number 2, I was like, I know a lot of people, this is probably their number 1 album, because I've heard that plenty of times. But for me, it's number 2. It's Far Beyond Driven. Now, I get it. There are amazing tracks on this, right? And we all know that the hits, I'm Broken, 5 Minutes Alone. But it's those other tracks that are on there that kind of are like, holy shit. And I mean, Shedding Skin and Slaughtered, for instance, are 2 tracks on this album that completely fucking blow my mind every time I hear them, and I love listening to this album. So this is definitely an amazing album. It's the fastest selling Pantera record of all time, and it's the first extreme metal album to ever go number 1 on the Billboard Top 200 charts. So that is saying something. Pantera was reinventing everything in the 90s. They kept metal alive. And that brings me to the number 1 record. You probably have already guessed it. If you see Far Beyond Driven is number 2, then you've guessed it. Vulgar Display of Power, number 1. It is the greatest Pantera record, in my opinion. This was the album that set the standard. We know that everybody will say, Cowboys from Hell was like this change. It was like, holy shit, what is this? What are we listening to? But this is the album that set the standard for everything in the 90s, for metal at least. It was, if you weren't following what Pantera was doing, then you were behind. And only a few bands, in the 90s in the metal scene were doing that well. If you remember, I mean, like Sepultura was still kind of a powerhouse, but they opened for Pantera. And then Pantera gained a lot of traction with this, obviously opening up for Skid Row. Then we would see eventually they would tour with White Zombie later on in their careers. But this one, to me, dude, it's just like, you can't mess with it. And one of my favorite Pantera songs of all time is on this record. To me, By Demons Be Driven is probably one of the coolest and most badass Pantera songs of all time. So you heard it here. Please, if you disagree with my list, that's fine. That's what these lists are for. Remember, I always say this, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, including myself. Take my opinion for what it is, take it or leave it. You know what I mean? But I want to thank you guys for tuning in again Remember, please do not forget to subscribe. We appreciate all of you, and I will see you all next time.